Hernandez. Date of offense, June 17, 2013. Count 1 is murder.
The prosecutors in Massachusetts have a huge advantage in any case, in any murder case. At arraignments, when the charges are first brought, they get a chance to almost lay out their entire case.
Your Honor, the defendant is charged with the murder of Odin Lloyd. His body was discovered approximately 1/2 mile from the defendant's home.
They get the first crack at the public in terms of forming public opinion, and it's a huge advantage because you think about the public includes potential members of the jury.
So approximately 14 hours earlier, 3 of them departed the defendant's home at 1:12 in the morning in the silver Nissan Altima. 2:32 in the morning, they arrived outside the victim's home and they sent a text message, "We're here." The victim was then observed by his sister leaving the home, entering into the car that the defendant was driving. This is captured on surveillance, but was also corroborated by other phone records and cell tower information.
The prosecution had revealed a lot. They were really showing their hand, and I think it was because there was a lot of confidence in their case. And so they wanted as much information getting out there as possible.
He then drove the victim to the remote spot, and then he orchestrated his execution, and that's what it was. The evidence will show the defendants had the motive, the means, the opportunity to perpetrate the crime. I'm asking he be held without bail, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
The government had spent an inordinate amount of resources to attempt to show that Aaron Hernandez was guilty of the charges, and were not willing to give him the benefit of the presumption of innocence.
They got themselves an NFL football player. They were going to get a pound of flesh out of him.
They immediately focused on Aaron, and that is a terrible condemnation of the legal system, where because you're simply high profile, you're going to be charged and maybe convicted solely on the basis of your profile, rather than as to what took place here.
Thank you, Your Honor. We just heard Mr. McCauley describe the case. It is, at bottom, a circumstantial case. It is not a strong case. We would respectfully ask, Your Honor, that the court fashion a mix of conditions of bail that will allow Mr. Hernandez to return to his home, to return to his fiancée, and to return to his small baby while this case plays out.
We remain positive, of course, but I wasn't thinking about the practical things. I was thinking about when was he coming home.
Folks, after a hearing on the Commonwealth's request for bail, the court hereby orders that the defendant, Aaron Hernandez, be held without bail pending further proceedings of this matter. We are still in session.
We were fascinated by the relationship between Shayanna Jenkins and Shayanna Jenkins. They seemed so different. Shayanna Jenkins is a law student. She was always dressed very conservatively, modestly, in these kind of sensible shoes and slacks and a blouse, and her hair was always tied back. She looked like she was ready to go, to the office. On the other hand, Shayanna Jenkins was always just dressed to the nines. It was very cold during the trial, and there was a lot of ice and snow on the streets. She was always wearing stiletto heels. You never saw her in comfortable, sensible boots, and she always had makeup on, very carefully applied. And she was friendly, she liked talking to the reporters. She would smile at us and, joke around a little bit. Whereas Shayanna steered clear of us. She didn't want to talk to any of us, and she would stay very close to Odin Lloyd's mother.
There definitely was a tension between the Jenkins sisters. That was apparent.
They didn't look at each other, they didn't exchange glances, and this absolutely ripped their relationship apart.
This was a Shakespearean tale you could not make up.
Sitting through some of the things that my sister said was very, very hard because he was always good to her.
Did you meet Aaron Hernandez at some point?
Yes.
How long ago did you meet him?
In high school sometime, I believe.
In, the sitting on opposite sides, this is someone that she had known for years, opposed to someone that I felt she was still getting to know. But, I chose how I was going to view things and how I wanted to deal with things, and she chose hers. Then she took the stand during the trial for the prosecution, then that's completely fine.
Had you been sleeping prior to this phone call?
Yes.
And did you learn something at that time?
Yes.
And what did you learn?
That Odin was dead.
Watching Shayanna on the stand, she got very emotional when she talked about learning about Odin Lloyd's murder, the murder of the guy she loved, and her sister, Shayanna, sitting behind Aaron Hernandez, the man accused of killing him.
As a result of learning that, did you call anybody?
Yes. Shayanna.
What did he say about hoping for the time of the homicide to be revealed?
My recollection is that he said that he hoped that the time of the event came out because he was in a club.
Did he tell you at that time how he knew the time of the incident, the murder?
No.
Oh my God, Mr. Kraft's testimony, it was a revelation. There's no way Aaron Hernandez could know that unless he was at the scene.
When Robert Kraft took the stand, you see a different side of individuals. I felt like they had a loving relationship. We've been to his house before, and he was very sweet, said he loved Aaron so much. I thought that he would be more supportive.
When you and Aaron would see each other, you had a bit of a special greeting, didn't you?
Yes.
And what was that, sir?
Well, he would always hug and kiss me.
I felt like they had a loving relationship. Like I've heard him say he loved him. I heard Mr. Kraft say it back.
Nothing further, Mr. Kraft. Thank you.
It's a disappointment.